Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily drill a hole into a seashell. I've gathered my supplies. I have a small container of water. I have an old washcloth or rag to work on, a paper towel or a tissue for cleaning up the mess, some seashells, and I'm using a Dremel. You can use a drill or a Dremel with a small bit. This one is like a battery operated one. I advise against mixing water with electricity, so your best bet is a battery operated drill or Dremel. And you're also going to want to use a wood block to drill on top of. So you don't want to drill a hole into your table. So some people drill these seashells underwater. You really don't have to do that, but you do need to keep them wet because the drill bit is going to get very hot. So I have found that I can just dip them in water, and if I'm using the inside of the shell to drill through, it kind of scoops up the water, and then if it gets a little warm or if the water gets too cloudy from debris, I'll rinse it out. Now, the places you can drill the holes on these vary due to the thickness of the shell, and some that I've gathered you can tell are textured and some are thinner. And we're going to start with the easy one, and what I recommend is always practicing first on a shell that is chipped or one that's broken, because it takes practicing with one or two of them to get the hang of it. And you do want to drill using the inside of the shell. I believe that this gives you a more stable surface for drilling, and also, like I said, the concave area of the shell, when you're drilling through that side, it'll hold water. So it makes it so much easier. You don't have to mess around with finding containers of water, and it depends on how you want to hang your shell, where you want to put the hole. So you can put it in, on the tips of the shell, like where it opens, or you can do it at the end where like the hinge is. So I'm going to show you both ways, and one's a little harder than the other, and that's just due to the thickness of the shell. To get started, I just dip my shell into the water, and I have my Dremel all charged up and ready to go, and I'm going to drill it to put just like a divot into it, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. Now here you can see I made a little divot with the drill bit. I did not drill all the way through, I just made a mark, and I almost forgot to drill on top of my wood block. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to reposition myself here, and again I'm going to dip the shell into water and scoop up a little bit, and now I can put my drill bit right into that spot so it makes it easier to pick up where I left off. And at first I had this little Dremel all the way up to speed 10. It has like a little adjustable speed thing on it, and I turned it down to 8 because I realized I was going a little too fast. So you may need to mess around with that if you have those kind of adjustments on your Dremel or on your drill. And here's a close-up. You can see I had to dump the water once or twice to clear it out, make sure it's nice and cool, and it only took a minute or so to drill through this, and it's a nice hole. Now sometimes they chip around the hole, that's just how it is. You're drilling a natural material, and these seashells, they have kind of like layers, and if you look inside, they have like the layers of mother of pearl, and those tend to flake away. So not every one is going to be perfect when you drill it. Now we're moving on to the next one, and I'm showing you how we drill a hole down at the other end. So if you want to hang it with the scalloped side kind of up, that's where we're going to drill the hole. And again, I'm doing it from the inside of the shell. Now at this area, I can't scoop up and hold a lot of water like I did when I was drilling the hole in the other end of the shell. So I do need to stop once in a while and kind of rinse it, make sure it's moist. It doesn't have to be underwater. We're not using a 1-inch wide drill bit drilling into something huge. It's a tiny little thing. It just needs to be kept cool. And relatively quickly that one went through because that's a thinner area of the shell, and it made a nice hole through that. And you can make these into ornaments, you can make them into rain chains, you can make them into jewelry. I do show some examples of those things on my blog, dysfunctionaldesigns.blogspot.com, and I'll link that above and below. But let's move on to the smaller shell. The smaller shells obviously are more suited for jewelry. They can be a little more tricky to hold. This one was slipping around on me a little bit, but they also drill through faster. You can drill more quickly through the smaller shells, as long as it's not super, super thick. Look how quickly that one drilled through. And next we're going to go and move on to the textured one. And Again, I'm going to do it from the inside, put some water in. I'm making the hole up toward where like the hinge of the shell is. And again, it's a little hard to hold. You have to be careful, hold it very firmly and just drill right through there. And again, if you need to switch the water out, go right ahead. It takes under a minute to drill through one. Sometimes it only takes about 5 to 10 seconds. Just depends on how thick the shell is. This one went relatively quickly. Matter of fact, it went so quickly that my drill bit got stuck into my wood block. And with this small Dremel, it doesn't have a reverse switch like a regular drill does, so I had to kind of turn it back on and pull that out. But look at that. I attempted to drill a hole in the small conch-shaped shell, and it proved to be difficult. It was hard to position the drill bit in there, but I was successful. It drilled pretty quickly, but as soon as I went and wiped it off, guess what? It broke right off, so I might have been too close to the edge. But let's take a look at all the shells that we drilled. And once again, I used a very small drill bit to drill these holes. It was about 2 millimeters in size. I don't recommend using anything that's much larger than that. I don't think that the shell would withstand it, so I would keep 2 small-sized holes. As for what to use to thread through these holes, I recommend using fishing line. You can use thread, but that's a little flimsy, or you can use fine wire. If you enjoyed this video, if you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below and let me know what you would make with your shells. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys!